You know you love it. You know you've got to have it. You didn't get it last week, so you're kind of fiending for it. You're like, yeah, I need it injected straight into my veins. I won't even make you wait. It's time to talk about some Bears football. Oh, I got a little rusty not saying it much for 2 weeks, huh? Let's try it again. Bears football. There we go. That's better. Felt more bass and manliness in my voice. Anyways, here we come. Bears football is back on Sunday. And we've got an NFC North matchup featuring two fan bases that can't keep each other's teams' names out of their fucking mouths. I mean, seriously. It's like Bears fans trash talking the Lions and Lions fans. Lions fans trash talking the Bears and Bears fans. This is like arguing over who's the better Special Olympian athlete. I'm sorry. Like, give me a damn break here. I know the Lions, predictably so, are having a pretty good season, but come on. Like, it's whatever, right? All joking aside, though, all joking aside. This honestly is a pretty big matchup for both teams. As you look at the Lions, they're sitting at 9-3. They're comfortably in command right now, 3-game lead in the NFC North. However you look at them, and since they're bye week, you could say, yeah, they're 3-1 in their last 4 games, but they gave up 38 points to the Chargers and squeaked by to beat them. They had to score 2 touchdowns in under 4 minutes to slide past this sorry-ass Bears team they're getting ready to face on Sunday, this time on the road, in the third-rate stadium called Soldier Field, where a spaceship took a huge hulk of bear crap in the middle of the Roman Coliseum. Then they turned around and lost on Thanksgiving Day to the Packers and struggled this past Sunday to hold off the Saints after getting out to a massive 24-3 lead. So 9-3, but this team's got some fleas right now, needless to say. A win this week for the Lions would ensure them at least a 2-game lead, if not 3, with 4 to go. Put them in a pretty commanding spot at that point. It'd also keep their hopes alive for the number 1 seed in the NFC. You know, the Eagles are at 2 losses. The 49ers are at 3 losses. The Lions right now sit in the 3rd spot. You know, if the Lions won out, Eagles lose 2 games, 49ers lose 1 more. As unlikely as that scenario would be, it is possible, right? And that chance is still alive with 5 weeks to go. But all of a sudden, if the Lions lose this week, it starts to get hot. It gets real hot. Especially like if Minnesota or Green Bay win, and now you're talking about you're only up 2 with 4 to go. Now you've lost out on the top seed, any realistic chance of that, and now you got to worry about whether you can hold on and win the division. And the problem for the Lions is their defense has been their Achilles heel, especially those last few weeks I mentioned since the bye. 38, 26, 22, and 28 points respectively is what the Lions defense has given up the last 4 games. And as much as the NFL today is about offense first, that is absolutely true. You got to be able to play at least a little bit of defense. And the Lions haven't really been able to play even a little bit of defense these past 4 weeks. Well, that brings us to the Bears. We're sitting at 4-8, and technically, although not realistically, technically still in the hunt in the NFC playoff picture. But I mean, come on. Let's get real here. That said, though, the Bears are 3-3 in their last 6 games, with 2 of those wins coming without Justin Fields in the lineup. But this is a team that in their last matchup Monday night, they did beat the Minnesota Vikings, and you can take that to mean what it is, but they did win that game. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. You're going to see a lot of people talk about how Matt Eberflus has his defense playing better the last few games, and in a bubble with no other context, like, that is absolutely true. However, when you look at them, you could say their wins, talking about their defense, came against Sam Howell and Commanders. Howell's a very young quarterback. Brian Hoyer, career backup guy. Bryce Young, scrub bad rookie. The Panthers will pay the price for that for a long time. And then Josh Dobbs. So they're either beating rookies or journeyman backups. That's it. And you say, well, Howell's in the second year. Figuratively, for all intents and purposes, experience-wise, a rookie. You get my fucking point. Now, others are going to point to the addition of Montez Sweat and try to make it into this big deal. Look, Montez Sweat is a solid player. But stop trying to go overboard talking about how much of a difference maker he really is. He isn't. He is a solid player. He improves the Bears' defense, yes. But trying to make him out to this franchise piece, he's not that type of guy. He just fucking isn't. He gets sacks when he's unblocked or he's blocked by a tight end or a running back. Give me a break. I agree he had his best performance as a Bear with against the Vikings on Monday night, but come on. But the defense is playing better. Context matters. Typically not for Bears fans, though, because that requires thinking. And Bears football isn't about thinking, damn it. It's about defense and running the football. What's crazy, though, is the Bears, no matter what they do the rest of the way themselves, are in the driver's seat right now for the top overall pick in next year's draft because of that big trade back last year, because the Panthers just couldn't help themselves and had to go get Bryce Young for some dumb David Tepper reason. So the Panthers likely are going to finish with the worst record in the league, which means no matter what the Bears do the rest of the way, they could be sitting really, really pretty come the end of April in the NFL draft. But these games still really matter for the Bears because it's about how they play these last 5 games. It's about how Justin Fields plays the last 5 games. But we got to be honest about that too. If you are looking to these last 5 games for Justin Fields as a way to evidence that he's the guy, then you've already got the answer to your question. He's not the guy. Like all of the excuses and all of the bullshit that people could come up with for him. You know, some of it is valid, but some of it is just stretching the bounds of logic and reality. Well, you gotta build around him and put more help around him. I'm sorry, is DJ Moore a fucking scrub? When did Darnell Mooney become a scrub? Cole Kmet's a scrub? Tevin Jenkins is a scrub? Braxton Jones is a scrub? Darnell Wright's a scrub? The Bears running back room, which is arguably the best in the league, is full of scrubs? I know it's not perfect. I wish dumb Dick Poles would have done more to address the offensive line, especially the center position. But come the fuck on, right? Like, at some point in time, the excuses have got to kick fucking rocks here. Unbelievable. But you know there are going to be those that look to this and say, hey, the Bears are 3-3 in their last 6, and they're going to point to this as some indication that the Bears are starting to figure it out, and who knows, crazier shit is fucking happening. Maybe Bears fans are looking at the 2023 Bears and hoping they're like the 2022 Lions, where the 2022 Lions started off pretty rough in Dan Campbell's second year, and then they pulled it together. There's one massive difference, though, in the scenarios and circumstances. It has nothing to do with quarterback. It has everything to do with Dan Campbell versus the fucking Scarecrow. Ben Johnson versus Gutless Getsy. Put him up. Put him up. I'm the offensive coordinator. I got courage. Screen. Wide receiver screen. Halfback dive. Those are pretty damn big differences here. But again, context usually doesn't go well with Bears football fans. The odds for this one have the Lions right now as 3.5-point favorites. The over-under has 43. There's actually a chance the over-under could be smashed. You might want to smash the over on this one. In terms of injury report, I know the Lions will be without Vaitai on the offensive line, but they're relatively healthy. Bears are relatively healthy outside of the receiving core. No Equanimeous St. Brown, potentially no Tyler Scott, or he might be very limited. So that's kind of rough. Some are going to point to, well, isn't Velus Jones potentially out with injury too? Like I said, I was talking about Bears wide receivers, not bust. Just saying. But both teams are relatively healthy, so let's try not to make injuries an excuse for anything here. You know, let's save it for what real football fans do on Sunday when their teams lose. Blame the officials and one of the coordinators and the quarterback. That's what American football is all about. In terms of keys to victory for this matchup on Sunday for the Lions, defense actually has to show up for a change. They got to show up. They got to be able to stop the Bears. They got to be able to force some turnovers, play more consistently. Jared Goff and the offense, they cannot turn the ball over and give the Bears easy scoring chances. You just can't do that. Losing the turnover battle, having a negative turnover margin is a recipe for disaster. I don't care how bad of a team you're playing in the NFL. You're still playing an NFL team. And then a heavy dose of Gibbs and Montgomery, especially in the passing game. The Bears have struggled to cover slot receivers, struggled to cover running backs this year. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Attack that vulnerability in the Bears defense early and often. Meanwhile, for the Bears, starts with Justin Fields. Get him on the move early. Get him into a rhythm. You know, last game, a few weeks ago, the Lions really struggled with Fields' athletic ability and his mobility. He ran for over 100 yards. Get him into that type of rhythm early. And then when you have opportunities in Lions territory, you have to convert those into touchdowns, not field goals. That game a couple of weeks ago, Cairo Santos hit 4 field goals, and 3 of them were from 31 to 40 yards. You get there, and like it's 4th and 2 on the 20 or 25-yard line. You have to go for fucking touchdowns. Stop playing chicken shit Bears football. Don't be like, if I only had a brain. Fucking go for it. Understand you're playing against a very aggressive coach and team in Dan Campbell and the Lions. When you get those opportunities, you know, it's 4 down territory, fucking period. Stop playing pussball. And then for the Bears, their defense actually has to play a full game. You know, last time you could argue against the Lions, they were playing pretty well until it mattered the most, and then they fucking gagged it up. Cannot happen if you want to win this one. This one could be another fun one. You know, there was some thought earlier in the week that the weather was going to be really bad in Chicago come Sunday. Sounds like it's just going to be kind of, you know, December chill, not too bad, maybe a little windy. We'll see if the weather forecast changes at all. But a big spot for the Lions to prove that they can go on the road in December in less than ideal dome conditions and hang it on somebody. I'll still pick the Lions to win 26-20, but this is also that potential disaster scenario for the Bears getting ready to manifest. They could win a couple more games here this year and finish like 7-10, screw up their own draft position, con everybody into thinking something different than what reality actually is, and everything will be fucked up for 2024. You know, some of you, I understand, don't want to root for active tanking. I get it. Just understand that there are consequences to that sometimes. That's all I'm saying.